I mean, you know me. I like my unique and odd music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff that doesn't follow convention.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna need a brain cleanse after this. I'm gonna have to jam out to something
Yep.
that, like, you know.
Yeah. Some brain bleach.
What's going on, YouTube? So we're doing something totally different today. You've noticed I got a guest. This is my son.
Oh.
He's been really wanting me to check out this this thing called the Caretaker, Everywhere at the End of Time. And honestly, when he explained to me what it is, it kind of scared the hell out of me because I kind of get what's going to happen here. I don't want to explain too much because I want Ryan to kind of explain what it is. But we're taking a break from music tonight. Ryan's going to be hanging here, and we're going to kind of. This is a 6-hour thing, so we're gonna kind of crunch through it as much as we can tonight, and then we'll maybe do it in a couple sessions or whatever. But all right, so explain what this is.
So this is a 6-hour-long album of 6 parts that represent the 6 stages of dementia and how it degrades the mind. And it's a very large collection of samples from old, I'd say maybe 1920s and 1940s ballroom music. And basically it starts off pretty normal, and then as it goes on into the further stages, it gets worse and worse. And
Scary.
it's pretty bad. It gets bad.
Yeah, and I guess people have like listened to the whole thing all at once and reacted to it that way. I don't think I'm gonna be this kind of stuff. Like I said, stuff that kind of gets in your mind and it actually gets you to start like thinking, almost feeling like you're in that position. And I'm scared to death of dementia as it is. I'm in the medical field, you know, and of course loved ones, we see what happens to them. So this is kind of scary, but I appreciate this for what it is. And if it's anything, I think it's going to be, it's kind of a work of art to do something like this, to kind of you know, allow us to appreciate dementia and what actually happens to the human brain. So, should we start it?
Yeah, and disclaimer, I've already listened to this whole thing before, so I sort of want to see his reaction in real life. So
Yeah,
but
and I imagine too, even if you have seen it, there's probably some really cool things to talk about. You
Yes.
know, like you could definitely analyze this and
Yep.
break it up and tear it down.
Yep.
So
there's lots of really good videos out there doing that.
So we're in for a long haul tonight. So,
Mm-hmm.
But you'll just see snippets of it. You're not going to really experience the whole thing. So, all right. So we got into just a few seconds of it, but realized that this is actually kind of important to talk about because it is in 6 stages. So to kind of let everybody know, maybe, and for me know, I guess what we're looking at. So the first stage, and this is all in the description for the video. We start to experience the first signs of memory loss. The stage is most like a beautiful daydream, the glory of old age and recollection, the last of the great days, right? So, and that's broken down into other little things, and we'll talk a little bit about stage 2 when we're there. So again, when you listen to this ballroom music, it sounds like it's like reminiscing, right?
Yeah, like nostalgic in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And maybe their brain is just kind of always in that state. So, okay. Here we go. You could be with us in the beginning there. And I guess there's pictures too, right?
Yeah.
Different parts? Okay.
Yeah.
That just kind of represent, I guess, the state of the brain at that time?
The pictures are pretty abstract. They can sort of represent whatever you think they do. It's like for me, I think this is a rolled up newspaper.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so you could definitely hear there's some crackling, you know. But already, you know, you start thinking about somebody in their 80s or 90s, you know, when they were in their prime,
Yeah.
the music they used to enjoy, you know. Okay, so it switched over to a different piece of music. Obviously slower. And I hear a little bit more muffling to it, maybe.
Yeah.
but it's still that reminiscent sound.
I think this one's probably my favorite of stage 1. There's sort of like a sadness to it, but yet like a peacefulness to it. And I don't know, I can't really describe it. It just makes me feel sort of nostalgic in a way.
So it's almost like things are, it's still slow, but like it's more distant almost. Like it's,
yeah,
like almost getting drawn away.
I think what's interesting about the previous one is that it was almost on a loop. It didn't really change much.
Oh, like the same phrase?
Yeah, it was sort of the same thing over and over again.
Huh.
And I think that kind of represents the first signs of like you forgetting most of the song.
Oh,
and
it just keeps
plays
coming back.
that one part over and over again.
These are all real songs.
Yep.
Oh.
You know, obviously the real songs have voices in them, and
Oh, yeah.
they got rid of the voices in this, and I think that adds another level of just disconnect from the real world.
No, this almost seems like a period where you're more lucid.
Yeah.
Like you're drifting, but now you're in a moment where your
a little bit clearer.
sound quality's better.
Yeah.
It's more robust. It's not as distant.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of echo.
And we got echoes.
Yeah. Like, yeah, right there.
Okay, so if that was a period of lucidity, it's a quick switch into this.
So now it's like even worse almost.
Ooh, yeah. It's like it's not doing anything. It's just
Yeah.
like a steady drone. It doesn't really form a melody. Like it kind of does. It's an interesting transition. So again, we're more lucid because now we have more of a melody. You can, yeah.
Yeah, the one before it felt like maybe 2-3 notes just going up, down,
Yeah.
up, down, and
You keep hearing that part kind of
Yeah.
just
it's
looping, and it just
again,
kind of
yeah.
comes out, and it almost reminds me, like, you know, I remember talking to like my great grandfather and stuff like that or whatever, and there's that one story they love to tell, and so they might be all of a sudden there's that story,
Yeah.
you know, and then they're lucid and they talk about it and they kind of go back into a stupor again, and
Yeah. It's just that one little segment they remember.
I'm just gonna loop again.
And that
So,
part
like-
echoes too.
Yeah, and like a phrase like that would normally maybe introduce a chorus.
Yeah.
But we keep going back to the same piece of music. It's not introducing a new piece of music. It's so that's definitely, I think, the biggest part of this is that loop
Yeah.
and that kind of like joyful little happy part.
Yeah, it's almost relieving to hear a actual part that makes sense.
Right.
So after hearing the droning for so long.
Yeah, and you listen to this though long enough, and it plays with you because your brain's expecting a new part of a song after that.
Yeah.
Like this would be the chorus. I'm just kidding. And this would bring you into the verse. But it goes back into a chorus. That's cool because it just kept same thing. Yep. So this would normally be maybe the intro to the song.
Yeah.
And it goes right back to it. It's like you're starting a train of thought and it's just... Oh, we definitely have a more complex song here.
Yeah.
You know, there's answering phrases, answering instruments. It sounds like it's maybe another period of clarity.
Yeah.
You know? Quiet internal rebellions. So maybe your brain is rebelling, saying, I'm not ready to go yet.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
This is some deep shit, man.
Oh?
This is the same song. When you said it stopped quickly? Quiet internal rebellions.
Yeah. The middle chunk of the song is just gone.
I thought it was a new song.
No,
okay.
that's the same
big.
song. Yeah.
So very clear, clarity in the beginning, clarity right now, but there was like where things shut down.
And then picked right back up again.
Yeah. That was sudden.
Yeah.
There's that echo you talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Every keystroke has a... Something dropped there, didn't it?
Yeah. Felt like it just...
Like it pulled back and...
Yeah, went away for a second.
There's that weird drop again.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's supposed to be there in the original song.
Yeah,
but it just
probably.
definitely throws you off.
This is the last
So
one.
this is called My Heart Will Stop in Joy. And it's the last part of stage 1. So again, it sounds, I guess, lucid for now. Happy, joyous, maybe.
Yeah, stage 2.
Okay. Alright, so let's stop it there real quick. Where's it? So, as you're going through stage 1, I guess you're supposed to stare at this picture. And, you know, what I get is, again, there's that feeling of reminiscence. You know, you've got periods of lucidity, and then you got periods of disjointedness, and then the loops. We heard a lot of loops.
Yep.
And then even like some little joyful little things that kind of, these little trills that happen, and then they kept repeating, and almost like that one fleeting memory that they keep holding on to. And all of that's wrapped up, I guess, in this image, because, you know, I picture that as being like their memories, but they're all rolled up.
Yeah.
And it's like they're clutching, you know, it looks like somebody was holding it tight, you know?
Yeah.
So like they're holding onto their memories, but it's rolled up. You can't really see it, you know?
Yeah.
You can see parts of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but not the whole thing as if it were laid out. So,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, in the beginning I didn't get that picture, but it makes sense to me kind of now, if that's even what they meant. I don't know.
The pictures are very left up for interpretation, but
Yeah.
the way I saw it, like I said, I see it as like a newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
but with no print on it. So it's just kind of like
It's blank.
you're
Yeah.
trying to, you know what it is. It looks like a roll of paper, but you can't read it. And it's like
Wow.
you're trying to think of what the words are, but they're not there.
Yeah, I said this earlier. I could never do this alone.
Yeah.
Ever, man.
Yeah.
And did they explain how you're supposed to do this? Like, did they say go in a dark room with the lights off and a ear canister?
It's kind of... I've heard the best way to do it is all in one sitting, but I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to it while I was at work, so I didn't really have enough time to listen to all of it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it alone unless you're really strong in the mind.
It would be it would be like a challenge. This would be the Everywhere at the End of Time challenge.
Yeah, it's like an endurance test almost.
Yeah.
Just to see how long you can
and
handle
at the end
yourself.
of the day, when you're done, I imagine you're just not the same anymore.
Yeah, it's safe to say this album changed me.
Okay.
Yeah, because it just put things into perspective. Like,
yeah.
I knew what dementia was.
In a good way.
But like to have it sort of summed up and represented in a way that's tangible to me is like...
Yeah.
It just puts it in perspective for me.
Yeah. I'm scared to move on. We're gonna do it though. We're gonna do it. So here's part 2.
So any thoughts on the image before we...
Well, obviously it's supposed to be a vase, but the vase is it's losing its form. It's kind of formless, but I see people in it though.
Yeah.
Looks like I see a girl off to the right, and maybe I'm saying girl. It looks like somebody in a dress, and so maybe like a male chasing a female, almost looking thing. So it's almost like mixing two images together. You've got people, but yet there's a flower vase, and so you got two images that don't go together, but they are together.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then just little spritz of color at the top. So, all right. So down in stage 2, self-realization and awareness that something is wrong, with the refusal to accept that. More effort is made to remember, so memories can be more long form. Yeah. So basically, what we're going to see here is that the realization that something's wrong, and an effort to try to remember those memories. So be on the lookout for that. And the mood is going to be a little bit maybe more depressed before confusion sets in. Okay, there we go. Okay, so part 2. Here we go. We're catching the transition again here. It kind of trails off. You definitely hear a very strong feedback loop. Static loop. If there even is a phrase.
Yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of notes.
Somebody wandering. But, that static is so loud, it's like the notes are trying to kind of pierce through. So it's like the brain trying to form a, train of thought. I think it's important to note, though, there's still phrases, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at this stage, there's still probably coherent thoughts.
Maybe very cloudy thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I imagine later, it's probably the notes are all out of key, and you know what I mean, and they don't go together right. It's just a guess. I mean,
I think the static's getting louder.
at least the looping stopped, but the notes are not changing. It's all stuck.
coherent song this time.
More coherent?
Yeah.
But like it explained, you can almost hear there's a underlying melody trying to break through. You hear that dun dun dun, that stick like that. Like it said, how they might almost be panicking, trying to remember things, and it's like,
yeah.
And it's kind of what I'm starting to get from this picture. At the surface, you have this muddled kind of confusion, this soupy mess, and then above you have like sparks of thought that are trying to kind of break through.
That's probably the memories they're trying to hang on to.
Right.
While the rest is just...
But they're dying.
Yeah.
One's dying. They're wilting.
Yeah. The only spots of color.
Yeah.
The only spots with a little bit of life in them.
Now it's... Then they're trying again, right?
Yeah.
So it drifted away, and now they're trying.
They almost lost it.
It's definitely a little more like depressive, you know?
So I don't know if you've realized it, but this is the first song.
Oh, I thought it sounded familiar.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the first song.
Oh, huh.
But a lot slower, a lot lower.
Wow. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it like sounds like dread, you know, like it's you know, again, like it mentioned how, you know, they realize what's happening and they start to kind of panic a little bit.
The song also seems really out of place. Like the rest are kind of like you sway, but this one's just sort of like a one long kind of...
It's like you're lost in the forest somewhere and you just don't have a clue where to start, like how to get out. You can start to hear a melody. Then it goes back to that dread again. Now it's just like terror, you know? This might not be too bad to live stream, you know?
Yeah.
You get people maybe chatting with you and stuff, and that would be kind of cool. This picture again is that trying to get through it. That's weird.
Yeah. Like a thumping.
And you hear how the melody's being echoed in the background? I picture somebody just trying the best to get through their day, you know, like trying to make something to eat, to get dressed, you know, so that feedback carried on from the other song, carried over.
Did a new one start?
Did it?
I don't know.
No,
it's the
same
one.
song. Okay. Yeah, I still picture somebody trying to just do their daily routine amidst, you know, you've got feedback going through your head. You've got just your thoughts are kind of. That's one of the first phrases I've heard in a while that. What's the word I'm thinking of? See my brain.
You forget?
It resolved itself.
That like actually finished.
I didn't think it was going to do that. I thought it was going to do something else, but it actually resolved itself, which was nice. Now, if the whole idea is that melody represents thought processes, then when there's no melody, I imagine
just sort of
there's
almost in a comatose kind of mind.
Yeah, just you can't. There are no thoughts forming. Like
a little bit.
It's there. Have you ever heard of sundowning? You ever heard that term? There we go.
Yes, but I don't. Ironically, I don't remember what it means.
Yeah. Sundowning is with dementia. At night, you tend to be worse than during the day.
Okay.
During the day, you're fine, but then once like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock hits, sun goes down.
Now it's just sort of become ambience.
Yeah.
It's just kind of. Yeah. You're just sitting there.
I wonder what song this was originally from. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't even sound like one, really.
No. There's still a little bit of a sense of calm compared to that other song. The other song where there was terror and uneasiness. That was a little weird. This is nice. Nice I mean, this is called Quiet Dusk Coming Early. You know, so is this maybe just going back to forgetting that you have problems and you're just content again, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, that point has to come eventually.
Because it's pleasant, you know, and it's got some melodies happening. It sounds reminiscent again, you know.
That was the first song again.
Really?
Yep, I just recognized it.
But different parts slowed down and drawn out.
Yeah.
The sound engineering is insane on this.
Yeah.
It had a nice resolution to it.
Yep.
It was...
It had a finality to it.
Yeah. This is last moments of pure recall. So we're clear again.
Might be the last clear song.
This is better than the first song.
Oh,
hardly any static, hardly any...
It's still pretty slow, though.
You know what I think? What else I think is important is hearing all of the instruments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in some songs, one instrument came out and played a melody.
Yep.
The other ones were just a garbled mush in the background. Here you hear all the instruments.
Yep.
You know, it's the last moment of clarity.
and everything fits together.
Which scares me because I know we're going to start nosediving here in a minute. We got 2 songs playing on top of each other now, I think.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So now it's like we have like competing trains of thought almost, you know, and you just can't. This is The Way Ahead Feels Lonely. What are your thoughts on this one?
It seems like it's multiple songs again.
Oh, yeah?
Just a little bit.
There's like that steady.
Yeah.
Oh, it went away. It definitely feels like some instruments are missing, you know? Wow. Okay. Let's talk about the next part.
Stage 2.
All right.
What did you think?
Yeah. So let me back up with stage 2 really quick. Yeah. So again, there's that theme where, you know, at the surface, there's again that muddled mess that you're just almost like somebody drowning. You know, you're underwater.
Yeah.
You can't see. You can't really hear. And then occasionally you poke your head up. You know, you're struggling to try to maintain some form of, you know, coherent thought, and you're realizing that you're losing, you know, your grasp on coherent thought. And which is why some of the songs, you know, you heard just a muddled mess, and then you'd hear notes kind of shooting through. And that really pairs nicely with this picture again, because down below, and even if you look at it closely, like the brush strokes are brilliant because you see different things in there, all kinds of things. Like I see almost a little town, like with roads and maybe trees.
Yeah.
But again, it's the brush strokes, you know. So it's just a mixture of just muddled memories that are just swirled together. You see some images of people, you know. I don't know if that's like almost like a cross in the middle of that. Just a lot of images together. And then you, like you said, the only color and the only life you have is what's kind of poking out of that, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the last attempts of just trying to maintain, you know.
And also kind of what I realized while listening to it is there's thorns on the thing, so I guess that sort of implies it's almost painful to try to hold on to these memories. So it's like they're really straining to do it.
Who are these people who did this? What are they? Are they like psychiatrists, psychologists?
I don't know.
Sound engineers?
The guy is the guy who made the music is I think he's a sound design person.
You gotta be.
I could be wrong.
Do this
probably
with this,
but the painter he does a lot of stuff like this where it's sort of just abstract. You can kind of make out what it is, but not really.
Yeah.
It isn't just this album too. This guy has made other sort of spin-off albums, I guess you could call them. And the same guy did the artwork for him.
But the science behind this, like who?
Yeah.
I want to know who, like.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I imagine this is based on some scientific.
I'm not 100%.
And not just
sure.
Somebody guessing, hey, this is probably what dementia's like. I mean, I imagine there's some deep study that went into this, and
they have to have some kind of first-hand
crazy
experience.
resources, and all right. Let's move on to the next one. Looking a mess. So, all right, let's. Okay, so stage 3 is basically shows some of the very last coherent memories before confusion fully rolls in, and the gray mists form and fade away. Yeah, so it says the musical flow in places will be more confused and tangled. We have some singular memories that become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. The last embers of awareness before we enter the post-awareness stages. So, all right, can't wait. Okay, so here we go, part 3. So all right, now we got nothing. I don't see anything in that picture that represents anything.
Some people say it looks like a tree, a bush, I don't know.
So yeah, you can hear those phrases. They don't finish off, or they just skip.
Yep.
Something comes in and it sounds like it's gonna do something, and it just kind of.
Yeah, it just kind of like deteriorates away.
I mean, it still has a beat.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a tangible song.
It's like a coherent memory there. Even had a resolution to it. I don't think this has any elements from the first song again, do you?
Not that I can really hear.
All of a sudden.
This is the first song. I can already tell. Yep.
Yeah, I hear that. So the first song, but there's no beat to it. Things just kind of flow. There's nothing tying it together.
Yeah.
There's no like. You just hear little snippets from it. That's it. Different times. The phrases are in different speeds, I think.
But it sounds way more distant. It sounds really far away.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the same phrase over and over again. But what's interesting, the end there's a chord. You hear that? So like
Yeah.
those last 4 notes are like an actual chord, like a
Yeah.
real chord. There's definitely more going on here, you know. It is like an earlier song, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was
getting a little
fancy.
saucy here.
Yeah.
Some of this is just a period of lucidity now again. A little more clarity. Yeah. Way better than what we've been hearing lately, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I almost wonder if this represents, you know, my grandmother. It would have been my great grandmother. So your great great grandmother had Alzheimer's real bad, and there were moments when she, out of nowhere, was really goofy, like acted goofy, had a good sense of humor, just out of nowhere. And I wonder if maybe that's, and that was even after she was pretty well progressed into Alzheimer's and dementia. And you almost hear that bodiness come through, you know?
Yeah, it's like playful.
Yeah. And then they go, you know, back to... Yeah, so it's interesting to note is these songs are a lot shorter through this section. And then in the later stages, they're just really long. So that obviously represents something too. So this looks like a female goblin sitting here, turned around looking at us. Like, here's the shoulder, here's the butt.
Yeah. Even the titles get a little more weirder and weirder.
Yeah, like the words don't go together right. To the minimal, great hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just like a steady droning. There's really nothing happening.
It's definitely a low point.
It's like there's some thoughts trying to get through.
Very minimal thoughts.
I mean, even the sounds that are there are cutting in and out.
Yeah, certain instruments.
Not getting softer and louder, cutting out. I'm gonna have some weird dreams tonight.
I know. Yep.
It's trying to do something. It's trying. There's even a beat there for a minute.
Wow.
You hear how that kind of cut in? Like... Wow. It's all over the place. We have a melody again.
Sort of.
You know, this picture makes a lot of sense the more you listen to this, you know? Because it's just a scattered mess, but occasionally an image will pop out here, you know, or a pattern over here.
Yeah.
Or...
sort of like the ink blot test.
Yeah.
This is an earlier song. Yep.
Okay, so more clarity again. It's definitely a solid melody and a beat.
Yep.
I'm getting a headache. You know what, I bet that just based on the name, long-term dusk glimpses, I bet you this is the cognitive, the clear images of the past. You know, you don't remember what happened, you know, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But
it's just glimpses.
I mean, I don't know if we're beyond that point yet. I mean, I don't know at what, but I mean, because it's clear.
Yeah.
But it's.
And it's a past song.
It's
that we listened to.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent. It's you know, and I keep thinking of this area over here, almost like a magnifying glass. you know,
Yeah.
and it's like there's a clear spot in all this mess, and maybe even here too.
Yeah, there's a couple.
You can see more clearly.
Yeah, where the noise is a little less.
Right. It's just brilliantly put together, man.
Yeah. A lot of thought was put into it.
Okay, so we had a moment of clarity. It's like, oh,
This is a pass song.
it's got a beat.
Yeah.
It's plus.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah. But it is. It's like you find these like almost like an oasis.
Yeah.
You're in the desert, and then you're like, oh, and it's like, and it's got to be how it is, you know. I mean,
Like getting a little sip of water
yeah,
in the desert.
yeah. I mean, we only see what we see.
Yeah.
You know how they act. To be stuck inside of that mind. I mean,
I think it's just one instrument too. One or two.
yeah, like everything's missing.
Yeah.
I feel very like comfortable with this picture now. It's weird. At first it was unsettling, you know, but it's calming almost. The beat's gone. Oh, you can. Okay, you can still hear it. Far away. That's weird how you feel it go really far away, and then it just and then it finally just it's gone, and just white noise. It's like sound is trying to come through, you know, trying to be formed, and it just it can't take shape, you know.
Very ambient now.
Yeah.
I can picture this in like a Silent Hill game.
Ooh. It's another thing I couldn't do alone. Play that damn game. Get those weird nurses coming out at you.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm good. And all you have is like a 2x4 with a nail in it.
Yeah.
You still hear voices. Not
Yeah.
that there were ever voices, but
It sounds almost someone like humming.
yeah.
It doesn't sound like an
You know,
instrument.
And I try to picture how this is translated into thought processing, and like you think of every thought you have, you know. Hey, I'm gonna grab a drink of water, you know, like that. Trying to form in whether it's sight or just your internal thoughts.
Yeah.
It's all just. It's not taking shape.
It probably looks like this painting. Trying to think about that.
And we might see the person get up, go grab a glass of water, maybe stumble a little bit, fumble a little bit, but inside, what's happening, you know? And that's where this is so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we might get frustrated with them, you know?
Yeah.
And because it is not easy taking care of a family member with dementia. It's just, you know, as a paramedic, taking care of people with dementia, it gets frustrating, you know, because you expect people to act a certain way, and you know, it's erratic, it's sometimes dangerous, you know, violent, you know.
It's good. This is the first song again.
Wow.
Do you recognize it at all? I can hear a couple of the notes.
I mean, it's like you've got little bits of instruments pulled out and just put in different spots, and they just kind of. But nothing is forming a melody. It's just. It's trying.
This almost reminds me. It's like an audio equivalent of when you stand up too fast. That's all you see. It's just kind of like.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this would sound like, I think.
I heard a little bit come through the first song, just there.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck in a loop. So yeah, based on that, you know, even on the title, it's nothing. There's no lucidity at all. There's no melody, there's no, just a drone, constant.
There's something.
It's better. So there's a beat, but I still feel like there's multiple songs, or at least multiple different parts of the same song overlapping each other.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there's a really quick part on it, like do 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 do. Hear that? Unless it's just the way the reverb, you like the
Probably
not reverb,
the echo.
Echoes, yeah. It's weird because there's a beat,
Very faintly.
but
yeah.
everything's.
There's nothing to go on top of it.
Hear that? Do, 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 do. I feel everything's kind of doing this.
Yeah, like wavy a little bit.
It's wavy. Might just be that drone in the background, but I mean, to me, this sounds like that blob sitting right there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's just little snips of. You know, and I truly think the right way to interpret this is, it's brilliant to do it with music, right? Because you've got a tempo
Yeah.
that kind of sets up our train of thought, right, from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And then you've got the thoughts that intertwine all throughout that time frame, right?
Yep.
And the thoughts have to make sense. They have to fall in the right order.
Beginning, middle, end.
Beginning, middle, end, resolution. And every bit of that you take away from the song, you know, is a part of that that's missing, you know?
Yep. And I think music is something we can all relate to.
Yeah.
So to distort it and
Yeah.
take things away from it, I think to anybody that would be weird and sort of throw them off.
I mean, you know me, I like my unique and odd music, you know? Stuff that doesn't follow convention.
Yeah.
But I'm going to need a brain cleanse after this. I'm going to have to jam out to something
Yep.
that, like, you know.
Yeah. Some brain bleach. No, last song coming up. This is the first song again.
There's no rhythm.
Nope.
It's just kind of fading in and out. Like it's trying.
Yeah, like right there.
Yeah.
There's little flakes of recognizable things, but
you know, and that thing that started that, you know, it might be the phrase, dun, 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 you know, when that phrase means, again, pick up that glass, or
yeah,
or the thought of your favorite movie, you know, or whatever it might be, internal or external, and the brain is trying to. And I think we're so used to our own conscious thought, it's hard for us to imagine that suddenly doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You know, like that thought, you know, we were at a point where it would start, but it couldn't stop. Now it's not even starting, you know.
And to have no concept of time.
Yep.
You're just always in the moment. You can't think back or think ahead.
Now it's like undulating. All of it's pushing, and then it lets up.
Oh, part 4.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap up this session tonight. I need a brain cleanse to, and I don't want to make light of this whatsoever. I mean, you know, certainly if you've got loved ones suffering from dementia, you know, I know that I've had my share of family members and patients that I've taken care of, and you know, again, all we see is their behavior, mm-hmm. you know, and how they communicate and things like that. But just to be living inside of just literally a living nightmare, probably, where in the beginning you're pulled in and out and you realize there's an issue, but there's nothing you can do about it. God, it's just... So if you know anybody going through this, you know, give them an extra hug and an extra dose of patience, you know. But
yeah.
So I think what we're going to do, we've talked about this a little bit. We're about halfway through. We're at we've done stages 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
So there's 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And we might actually, this is going to be more edited. Obviously, you've already seen it, but maybe live stream the rest of it. I didn't think at first that would be economic, or, you know, but looking at this would be neat to have people to chat with, maybe, and to experience this with. So maybe that's coming up soon.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully, I know this is a learning experience for me, and but you guys take care and have a great night.